Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're undertaking a really fascinating and powerful exploration, but one that pulls all of its source material from just a single but deeply articulate piece of lyrical content.
And it's so powerful.
It really is. This material, it describes an emotional state that is so specific, so nuanced, that I think millions of people experience it, but very few have ever had the precise vocabulary to define it.
Right, let alone share it with someone else.
Exactly.
It's truly remarkable because socially, we really only seem to have language for the extremes, you know?
Yeah, the emotional extreme.
You're either in a state of profound crisis or you're, flourishing in content. This source material just steps right into that huge, unacknowledged space in the middle.
It's like a map.
It is. It functions as this kind of linguistic shortcut, a precise map for that feeling of complete soul-deep exhaustion and total withdrawal.
Yeah.
But, and this is key, without ever tipping into acute crisis.
So our mission today is to unpack this voice, which describes being somewhere in between existing and disappeared. It's a feeling that's, I think, widespread, yet structurally invisible. And the whole thing kicks off with this core concept straight from the source itself. I don't want to be here right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
That opening line just,
Oh.
it captures the sheer immediate weight of just inhabiting the present moment.
Yeah.
It isn't a wish for a future change. It's a flat-out rejection of the now.
And what stands out, this is what makes the source so valuable, right?
Absolutely.
It's the critical distinction the writer makes, right out of the gate, that this state is explicitly not a dark place. It's not a suicidal thought.
They go to great lengths to clarify that. I think they know how quickly people's minds go there.
Oh, for sure. They state, I'm not on a ledge and I don't want to hurt myself. That's not the point.
And then, just to be crystal clear, they repeat it. I don't want to die. And that clarification is absolutely vital. It fundamentally shifts the entire focus away from self-destruction and towards something else.
Towards cessation.
Yes, cessation. The core desire is not for the end of life itself, but for the end of the constant pressure of existing, the end of the effort.
The source says they're tired of being inside this head, inside this skin.
And then the kicker, tired of the noise that won't stop.
Okay, let's focus on that noise for a moment. Because if they're not in an acute crisis, what exactly is this noise? For you, the listener, this is probably the key distinction between, normal stress and this profound fatigue.
That is a critical question. The noise here isn't necessarily some catastrophic trauma. It's the sheer relentless volume of just rumination, of all the mental processing we have to do.
It's the brain just not shutting off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about the difference between problem solving, which is productive, and rumination, which is just this high energy circular thinking that goes nowhere. When you are that profoundly fatigued, your brain just loses its filter. Every little worry, every self-criticism, every task you have to do, it all rushes in at the same time. It just runs on a loop.
So their head and their skin have become what? Cages?
That's a great way to put it. Unbearable cages built out of nonstop internal friction.
And when that internal dialogue just gets too loud, the only relief, as the source sees it, is silence, which they equate with, temporary non-existence.
They're not looking for a cure or even improvement at that moment. They're just looking for a complete break.
A pause.
A pause. Precisely. They're looking for a temporary exit mechanism, like an emotional airlock they can retreat into. And that leads directly to this powerful metaphor of withdrawal.
Right. It's not just about wanting things to be quiet. It's about wanting to vanish completely, but just for a little while.
Yes.
The desire is articulated so cleanly. I just want to disappear and I want to be a ghost.
But then they add that meticulous qualification.
Not forever, just for now.
That qualification is the structural integrity of this entire emotional state. It's everything.
It really is the absolute key differentiator, isn't it?
It is. The person isn't resigning from life. They're just requesting a mandatory mental leave of absence, functional anonymity.
But they're trapped. They describe this physical and emotional impasse as needing to breathe but don't know how.
That's such a powerful line. It's like they're drowning in air.
Yeah.
It's an inability to process or expel all that accumulated mental pressure.
And what's so fascinating here, I think, is that specific articulation, the difference between non-existence and, non-life.
Yes.
Because people offer encouragement, right? They say it gets better. And the source even acknowledges this. They say, I believe that it's true.
But that future optimism offers zero relief for the burden of right now.
None. They are just exhausted by the simple friction of survival. Tired of tired of the cold.
That cold, it really gets me. It feels like the physical manifestation of that emotional detachment. Or maybe it's just the feeling of running a system with absolutely no fuel left.
The effort of just being me.
Is the primary source of the depletion. The current state is just too taxing to maintain any kind of future-oriented hope.
So, if your own body and mind have become cages, then the only way to survive public life when you're running on empty is you have to create an illusion.
You have to perform.
Yeah. And that brings us to the high cost of performing functionality when you're in the middle.
This is where the source just resonates with so many people, especially people who are high-functioning despite this severe internal depletion. You are operating, as they say, in the middle, where you're just surviving every single day.
And survival mode requires performance.
An incredible amount of it. The energy cost of maintaining just basic social functionality becomes exorbitant.
The source highlights those tiny mandatory interactions, having to smile at the cashier.
Or laugh at the joke.
Things we do 100 times a day without even thinking. But for the person in this state, each one is an energy drain they just can't afford.
And these aren't deep connections. These are the most basic social exchanges we need for, full survival. The source shows us that even these mundane tasks require pulling forward a persona, a functional mask.
And that effort is physically taxing.
OTT.
There's this one devastating line that captures the physical toll. Holding my breath till I'm ready to choke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that suggests the act of faking it isn't just psychologically exhausting. It's creating a physical, suffocating tension.
It's a literal physiological manifestation of emotional suppression. You're restricting your breath because you're restricting your authentic self.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Then the source is describing that agonizing